Okay, here is another declutter. The title of this video is actually kind of a clickbait, sorry. But basically, I'm gonna move soon because I finally bought my own space. So this is gonna be my last declutter in this house. You know, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have future declutters in my new place, but yeah, in this place, this is the last one. I want to get rid of the stuff that I don't want before I move. And as you can see, it's actually pretty jam-packed in this drawer. This is my main drawer of makeup. I have another little small drawer for eyeshadow palettes. Let's just start because there are a lot of stuff to go through. Okay, let's just move the irrelevant stuff away. This is kind of like a daily usage kind of area. Have my sponge in a little case from Muji. I think this is something that you use in the lab, right? I don't know, but I think this is a good thing for store your sponge, especially the ones that, like you can see, there's several surfaces, so I'm not gonna wash it after a single use, right? So in between I can store it here so it's clean, it doesn't collect dust. And this is just my RCMA powder that I am trying to use up. And these are all daily stuff that I won't declutter much. It's all pretty much just this is pretty much just my project pen stuff, like all put in here, and some brushes and tools. So let's just set it aside. And let's see base. Actually, I don't think there's much I want to declutter in the base category, because actually a lot of these are pretty much new. I'm still trying them out. And also I have to say, today's goal is not to just downsize as much as I can, because I paid for all this stuff myself. So it's really just the things that I don't use. So there's no point of bringing them in the new home. So this hands cushion, I'll just keep everything pretty short. This one I'm still trying. I have a first impression video on my channel. In that video, this performed pretty well, but I find sometimes it can show up too heavy and dry and settling a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out the perfect way of using it. And the House Lab foundation that everybody loves, which I think this is a good foundation, but it just doesn't last that long on my skin. So my feeling for this stuff is kind of a little bit complicated. Haven't decided my opinion on it yet. And this one, another foundation from Hints. Again, this is similar to this one. Sometimes it looks beautiful, sometimes it looks heavy, so I still am trying to find the perfect way of using it. And this NARS Light Reflecting foundation is pretty nice. It's actually very similar to the House Lab foundation. So if you find it's hard to get your hands on the House Lab one, I think you can get this one. It's like both very light watery texture, but I don't know why this one is so popular, because I feel like other than the texture, there's not that much super special stuff about it. I don't know. I still need to use them more. The SUQQU foundation that I love. This is the liquid foundation. Yeah, I just love SUQQU foundation formulas. There's not much I can say. The cream foundation, also love, but right now it's pretty hot. It's towards summer right now, so I feel like the SUQQU cream foundation is a little bit heavy for this season, especially this new version, because I used up a whole old version, like a whole jar. That formula works well for the summer as well, but this new version I find for the hot weather is coming like a little too creamy almost. I find me looking like a little bit too oily during the day. And this Dior foundation is a beautiful one. I got this in basically a writing review for brands program, so I didn't buy that one, but yeah, it was beautiful. And this Kosas one, I find the finish so pretty. It's like having a filter on your face, but I feel like it doesn't last that long. So whenever I use this, I mix with some other foundation that has a little bit more lasting power. And also, if you are buying Kosas foundations, make sure you always buy a shade less yellow, because every shade of this foundation is so yellow. Olive 210. I don't think it's that olive, it's just straight up yellow. These concealers, none of them I'm gonna declutter. So like I said, I am not gonna declutter anything in the base category. I'm basically still trying to test out a lot of new ones and use up the old ones. And I think it's a manageable amount at this stage, so I'm pretty okay with that. And this is the Hans like a highlighting balm. It's the dupe for Chanel. This one is the super popular foundation from Maybelline. It's so popular in China actually. That's where I heard this foundation. And I have been trying this foundation for like a couple weeks, and I have a 1 week wear test video coming in a way, so stay tuned. Let's look at the lip category, because I think there are something that I can get rid of in this lip category. I'm not gonna go through these one by one because there are there are a lot of them. I'm just gonna talk about the ones that I am getting rid of. First of all, this MAC lipstick. It's so crusty. I don't like this type of matte rubber type of packaging. I think it used in the past MAC only had, it was just like a glossy plastic cap or packaging. I think everybody knows what type of packaging MAC had, but I way prefer the old one, because this one, it's like I can see, it's so gross. Is anybody remember the NARS packaging in the past? Like the foundation, not the foundation, the blush, the packaging all end up sticky like this. So I don't really like this. And I used a little bit, like a lot, I guess, for how much lipstick I had. And the shade is nice, but I don't find myself using it that much. This is the Power Kiss lipstick in the shade Impulsive. It's just like a brown, not much special about it, like a yellowish brown, so I'm gonna get rid of it. I think I can get rid of this Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. I just don't really wear lipstick that much, and you can see actually I used up a good amount of this, right? This is the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution in the shade Bound Girl. I actually still really love this shade, but again, I just don't use lipstick that much at all. I think for the rest of them, I'm good. I pretty much like everything. And some powder, which I'm not gonna get rid of any, because for now I don't have like that much powder, like excessive amount. So yeah, it's all manageable. Not gonna get rid of any. What I am thinking of getting rid of is this Tom Ford face palette. Like, I love it. I used it a lot in the past. I think this is the only powder bronzer in my collection right now, but knowing myself, I just know I don't really use bronzer that much. Oh, that's my nostril. Okay, it's like 3 shades. I think today's light is a little bit too warm, a very warm bronzer. a blush and a highlight that I don't really like. So whenever I use this highlight, I just basically mix this with the other one to make it like a slightly glowy finish. I guess if I have it, I can use it, but it's not like something that I feel like I have to have. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. And another one that I'm thinking is this Chanel one. I feel like in the past I have been having this one in my project pan for so many times, but I just find, again, I don't really use bronzer that much. I don't know why. I feel like Western bloggers, YouTubers, whatever, the influencers, the one step on their face that they cannot skip is their bronzer. But for me, I never felt that way. I just feel like bronzer is a step that I can definitely skip. Probably because my skin tone. I'm naturally I'm not like super tan or something, but I'm Asian. I have that tanness in my skin, if you know what I mean. Like I'm olive. So it's not like I'm pale, super pale or anything. I have the sun-kissed tone in my skin tone already. So I just don't feel like bronzer really adds something special in my collection. On my face, again, it just doesn't feel so necessary to add one more step. And that's why I haven't heat pan on this actually, because usually I just skip this step. Suddenly we have like a way better progress. This one is another tough one. I think this 4 little powder are more than 10 years old, I think. Or a little bit under 10 years, because I think this is from 2014. The Christmas collection from NARS. There was a big Laguna bronzer with a palette, and I used up the Laguna bronzer, and here now I still have 3 blushes and 1 glittery highlight. This is Deep Throat, and I think this is Sex Appeal, and this is what? Well, this is just like a peachy blush. I don't know, I just don't use them that much anymore. So even though this is very much the history of my collection, but if I don't use it, why bring it to the new home, right? And it's like 10 years old. So I think I'm gonna get rid of it. This little container are a lot of my lip liners and some eyeliners, or like all of the liquid eyeliners, and some like miscellaneous tools like spatulas and stuff. And there are some eyeliners here from ColourPop and one from Shu Uemura, and this one I think it's present with purchase from Girl Code, which is a Chinese brand. I still this one is still pretty new, so I think I'm gonna keep this one. But I feel like all these ones, I just don't use them at all. So I think I can just get rid of these, because I feel like if I ever want to have a colorful eyeliner, I just don't feel like I need these. I can just use eyeshadow, you know, powder eyeshadow. And I also have the water activated, those like little paint, like the little pots. I don't think I need all of this. I feel like there's one thing about ColourPop, it's just their stuff is so appealing for you to buy, but when it comes to use, I just feel like I just only buying from them but almost never use. I don't know, like other than the base, I think I have bought their foundations and tinted moisturizer, and I have used them a lot. But when it comes to the colorful stuff, I just find I just only buying from them, but it's just sitting in my collection ever since. I don't know if anybody feels the same, but yeah, these are gonna go. I'm also thinking about these lip liners from ColourPop. I'm pretty sure some of them are even in my like project pan. But I just don't know. I feel like these are too old for me to use. I think these are still from the days when Kathleen Lights is super active. It's not like she is retired or anything right now, but I don't think she is as active as an influencer as she was before. You know, this is from the prime time of her collaboration with ColourPop, which I think that's probably around 2016 to 17, 18, if anybody remembers. So these are at least 6 years old, right? And also one thing about ColourPop is, as you can see, the inside just comes out. So I feel like it defeats the purpose of lip pencil, because one of the good thing about lip pencil, at least for me, is that you can sharpen it, so you always get fresh product. You never have to use the super old exposed to air for a several years type of like situation. But these, because the inside all comes out like this, it just defeats the purpose for me. It's basically like a lipstick right now. So I think these I'm just gonna get rid of. And I have like a couple other lip liners which are just as good, and the colors are probably like basically the same. Oh, another ColourPop liquid eyeliner. And it's kind of dry, so it is time to let it go. Oh, I'm really having a lot of progress. This is another eyeliner. I guess this is still works, right? This is a gel eyeliner. It's not drying up yet. And these are all lip liners. Most of them are those wooden ones that you sharpen them, so I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep these. This Benefit Ka-Brow. This is a brow gel, I think. Let me see if this is still usable. Well, I guess it's usable, but most of the products are dried up, and these are so old as well. Do you remember there's a period of time that this product is so popular on YouTube? This one is definitely more than 6 years old, and you can see I actually used up a pretty decent amount, right? But I'm gonna get rid of it. It's too old. This is my blush collection. Let me see if there's any stuff that I want to get rid of. Okay, there's one blush I'm thinking should I get rid of. This is actually one of my favorites, so I'm like a little bit shocked. LYS blush. The matte one, I think. The higher standard satin matte cream blush in the shade Kindness. Do you remember the period of time that this brand is so popular? And right now, other than their stick bronzers, I don't even see people talk about this brand. I think they only had a little bit of buzz around the time they just launched the brand. Ever since, I haven't heard them have any super hit product other than the bronzer stick, of course. I mean, it's still a beautiful blush. It's so easy to blend. But I'm just thinking, do I still want to keep it? I guess I can keep it for now because this is a super beautiful formula. I just don't use it as much. I actually did a pretty good job last time decluttering, so now I don't know if there's any blushes that I want to get rid of. Oh, this one. I think this one I might want to get rid of. This is from Chemic. It's their matte blush. I don't know if they still make this anymore. Maybe it's discontinued, but I for sure don't really use this one. It's the Matte Fleur Cheeks in the shade 05. It's a pretty blush. It's a pretty formula, but yeah, again, I just don't use it. Is there anything else that I want to get rid of? I think so. I think that's probably it. I was thinking, do I want to keep this one? It's a powder blush from ColourPop. I think this was the only blush, purple blush in my collection. Now I have a couple other blushes that are near this tone but not exactly the same. Thinking, should I get rid of this one? Because to be honest, I don't really use this shade that much. But at the same time, I don't have much of this shade, so I don't want to get rid of it and then I want to repurchase this kind of shade. You know what I mean? Is this too similar? This is from Judido, which is a blush that I recently picked up. I guess this one is a touch more pink and this is a touch more lavender. I think I'm gonna get rid of it because I feel like this one could just do it for me. So I don't really need this one. And also, I feel like the purpley blush just don't really blend with my olive skin well. So probably have this one alone is good enough. Oh, this powder, I tried this from a Muji haul, and this is basically the worst powder I have ever used in my life. It's so thick, no matter how much you apply it. If you just apply one particle of this powder on your face, suddenly your face is cakey and heavy. I don't understand this powder, and they even have the audacity to sell a refill, even though I think this is probably just a Muji thing. They always sell refills. I don't know, I don't understand this powder. I think this is a super natural highlight powder, but at the same time, if you use this as highlight, it emphasizes your texture as well and it makes your skin look so heavy and dry without any glow. You know, those beaming glow highlighters, maybe they emphasize your texture as well, but at least they add the glow, right? I think this just adds nothing but the whiteness to your cheek and make it so dull and so chalky, so chunky, and so thick. I don't know, I think this is the worst thing, all category included, the worst thing I have ever tried. And I don't even remember the name, but I think there's only one thing in Muji look like this. I don't know if there's a lot, but I see some people love this powder, or at least be okay with it. I refuse to think I am the only one that think this powder is this bad. I think the blushes are about this much, like the blush and highlighters. I think that's it for the cheek product. And now let's see our eyeshadow. I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of any eyeshadows, but let's see. Okay, this is my eyeshadow collection. And let's see what we have to get rid of. Again, these eyeshadows from ColourPop, every time I see them, I want them and I buy them. And I just never use them. They just sit in my collection and drying. That's just every ColourPop non-base product in my collection. I don't know why. For at least 5 times. I buy them and I find myself not using them. I get rid of them and next time I see them, I still want them. I think I want to make this the last cycle of the ColourPop Super Shock eyeshadow. I just think this formula is not for me because every time I want to use them, they are dry and chunky and I have to use the Duraline to revive them, and it takes a little bit of time to revive them, right? So when they are taking the time to rehydrate the whole product, I forgot about them once again. And they dry themselves up again, and it's, the cycle is a cycle. So I was just gonna get rid of that. These are all little single eyeshadows, and these are the little water activated paint, you know, the little pots that I was just talking about. Of course, I'm not gonna get rid of these. I think I have one from Urban Decay I can get rid of. It's this Urban Decay Moon Dust Shadow in the shade Solstice. I love the shade Cowboy, you know, the one Space Cowboy, the one everybody loves. But this one, I think base color is probably just too strong. Whenever I want to use glitter, I just don't want to use something that has this strong of a base. But it is super pretty though. I kind of want to keep it because I don't have anything like this. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. Let's just keep it and maybe use it a couple times. So let's get this out and put into my everyday little section so I remember to actually use it. And these two I'm definitely gonna get rid of. These are the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Top Coat. Anybody still remembers these? These were launched a long time ago, and I really remember Karima on YouTube loved this product. And this is such a unique product that they would dry out and they are like rock hard, but somehow you can still get products out. But the thing is, at least for me, even though I can still get products out, maybe you cannot see, I don't know if you can see, but yeah, you can get product out of this rock hard little pen. But because they are so dry, they don't stay on your eyelid. It's like a couple seconds they're all, you know, gone. They are flying away from your eyelid skin. So what's the point of having that if they only stay on your eyelids for like 10 seconds? And not even Duraline can save these. I have tried a couple times. Even though I put a numerous amount of Duraline, it still feels so dry and rock hard. I don't know what it is about this formula. And I have so many glitter top coats. I don't think I need these two rock hard one that I never use, you know? And I feel like I don't use this one as well. It's a gold glitter. Not sure if you can see, it's here. From Etude House, I think. Now this brand is not even called Etude House. I think they are just called Etude. And yeah, I don't think I use this that much at all. This is the Picnic Air Mousse Eyes in the shade BE101. It's just a golden glitter. It's nothing special. This is those kind of putty formula. It's just okay. It's nothing special. I'm gonna get rid of this. This is the Chanel Illusion d'Ombre, I think. This is a long gone product. This is discontinued such a long time ago. It's still a great product even though it has dried up, but they don't make this anymore and I have a lot of silvery glitters. I think I bought this a couple years ago, and back then it's really hard to find a glitter that is this formula, like this intense but still translucent. But I think nowadays these type of formula are so popular. You can find them anywhere basically, right? So I don't think I need to hold on to this little pot that I had probably over 5-10 years maybe. Oh, actually, you know what? This one can be a good replacement. This is from Jose. I don't know, am I pronouncing this brand right? But it's Jiaose. It's like a Chinese brand. And this glitter is just as good, if not better, than the Chanel one. So literally, I don't need the Chanel one. I think these I can hold on to these. This quad from Excel. As you can see, I have like I even have a dent into it. But I haven't used this in such a long time. But it's still a pretty shade and a good formula though. I think I can hold on to it one more time to see how I feel about it. Let me see these little quads one by one. This little Kamek trail is actually pretty good. The ColourPop quad, this is probably the only ColourPop eyeshadow I have right now. It's a pressed powder palette in the shade Sorbet. It's a pretty nice mauve palette that works for olive skin tone because it's not too gray. This Cézanne palette I don't really use. I think I can get rid of this one. And this purple Kamek one, I think I rarely use this one. If I use this collection, I'm gonna use this one, which this one is the shade 11, and this the name of this eyeshadow is Juicy Pure Eyes from Kamek. So I'm gonna get rid of this purple one. This one is pretty new. I think I can find someone else to use it. And this is another Cézanne eyeshadow. I think I can hold on to this one. I think I might be able to declutter this one because I rarely use this. This is from Kamek. It's their Perfect Stylist Eyes in the shade 24. I think my favorite formula from Kamek is this one. There's so many hands in this palette, as you can see. I think that's the best formula from Kamek, and I don't really like this little palette, so this one can go. I think it's just like a little bit intensity for me. Another one I was thinking to get rid of is this Surratt palette that I made myself. Actually, the formula isn't bad, but I just feel like every time I use it, I don't feel anything. I want to keep products that make me feel anything, like a little bit at least when I'm using it. So yeah, I think I can get rid of this one. I really rarely use it. I have this for a couple years, and I feel like the amount of time that I actually use this is under 5 times, even 3. Whenever I'm actually applying it, I'm just watching it, you know. If I rarely have these actually on my eyes or my face, so what's the point of keeping them, right? Let's see these eyeshadow sticks, because even though eyeshadow sticks are beautiful, I just don't know why I don't use them. I think probably because these are bought years ago, so I don't like the shades of these anymore. This is from Nude Stick. The shade is Terra. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. This is just a matte shadow. I just feel like whenever I reach for a matte eyeshadow that's this color, I reach for powder. I don't really use cream. And this is from Bobbi Brown. It's super creamy, super beautiful formula, but again, whenever I reach for a matte that's this shade, I use powder. These are from Terra. These eyeshadow sticks are actually really beautiful. I have been keeping them for so many declutters, and I even have these in my, like, one of my like eyeshadow toppers or one and done my eyeshadows video. I even feature this in those videos, but I just don't feel like I use them that much anymore. Burberry eyeshadow stick. I just feel like this is too intense for me now to use as a one and done eyeshadow. I guess my preference just changed, you know. So those are all gonna go. And also this Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Eyeshadow. This burned my eyelids a little bit. I don't know if anybody can relate, but a lot of these gel-based, a lot of glitter type of formula, you know, glitter eyeshadow, usually burn my eyes. Is anybody remember those glitter liquid eyeshadows from Stila? Those were so popular for a amount of time. Those burn my eyes too. I'm feeling like those as well. So that's why I rarely use this, because I feel like it burns my eyelids. These are like relatively new. These are from SUQQU, all these 5. And this is from Flower Nose. And I think these are like pretty comparable formulas. And this one don't burn my eyes. I think the gel base they use might be different. I don't know what's the name of this because it's in Chinese. If I directly translate into English, it will be Ballet Series Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Rock Ballet. But I don't know if that's correct translation, because you know sometimes the official translation is a little bit from their original words. But yeah, this is a gift I got from purchase. To my surprise, it's actually a very good formula. Now comes to the hard part, which is eyeshadow palettes. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of any of my like SUQQU quads. I made some label on here so I can see which shade it is without having to open them, because they all look the same, right? Like you wouldn't know which one is which. But yeah, nothing from SUQQU that I'm getting rid of actually. But what I am thinking is Pomegranate. This one I think I can keep. Oh, let me see if this is the same shade as the Urban Decay Solstice color. Well, I guess they're different. You can't really see on the camera, but in real life the Solstice one is more warm and it's like a green glitter, but this one is like a mustardy kind of brown shade with blue pigment, glitter pigment on top. So different, I guess. Yeah, I think I can keep this one. I really like this palette. I think Pomegranate eyeshadow peaked at their first launch, and ever since they haven't come out with comparable shades. That's just my personal opinion though. And this shade is the one that I'm thinking of getting rid of, because you know the reason that I'm gonna keep these palettes is because of these Bliss Astrals shade. And this palette probably has my least favorite of, like, you know, these shades, both formula and color. I think the only one I like is this one, but the other shades I really don't use. I think I can get rid of this one. It really was my least favorite. This one, see, this shade is actually kind of reminiscing the one in last palette. That's also why I want to get rid of that one. And also, don't you think if you just cover this shade, it looks like one of those Divine Rose palettes, right? I feel like they're just copying themselves. Since from the first launch, you know, only the first launch is so original. Every launch after that is just like kind of rearranging and copying themselves a little bit. I think they probably did too good on the first launch, so ever since they haven't be able to, you know, peak themselves. So I'm gonna keep this shadow. I think this palette is the reason why I get rid of my Divine Rose 1 and 2. I had those two. I just found those two are basically just a variation of this palette. They break this palette in two and made it into two different palettes. But yeah, basically those two can be just summarized by this one palette. So this one actually I really like. This is 5, I think, number 5. I think this one is on the more unique side. And 6 is the one that I really like because it's nice for daily usage, you know? It's very wearable shades. I feel like a lot of their palettes have at least 1 or 2 not so variable shades, but this palette is just so intense but so variable. Even though I don't use them as much as I had like once during the history of me having these palettes, but I still love that palette. And this is Bobbi Brown little palette that I had, which I only have 2 shades. I'm thinking to get rid of this one because I just never use it, really. Okay, another hard decision. Do I get rid of Natasha Denona Glam palette? Because even though I really love this palette actually, I just rarely use it. But let me hold on to it one more time because sometimes I want to reach for these tones. I don't want to be like, oh, I wish I didn't get rid of those palette and let me repurchase. I don't want to do something like that. And this is the one eyeshadow palette from ColourPop that I actually sometimes use because this is the only palette in my collection that looks like this. So whenever I want to reach for colorful eyeshadows, I just reach for this palette. And I think this palette just has literally every colorful shades that you ever need. Because I find those type of rainbow palettes on the market, they're either, you know, super saturated shade or either super pastel. But this palette have both, right? They have super saturated shade, but they also have, you know, lighter pastel-y kind of shade. So I don't need to have 2 of those palettes, which I don't want to, right? I can just have this one palette. And the formula is actually so good considering, you know, it's this type of color. So I really like this palette, and you can see there's barely any fallout and it looks like new. But I actually use it for a lot of times. It's just the formula is so good. There's not so much fallout on this palette. I think this is one of the best palette from ColourPop. Okay, the last 2 are the hardest one to decide because these are the most expensive item in my collection. The original Natasha Denona big palettes. This is the blue purple one, and this is the green brown one. I think I use this one more because this is the one that I had first dive into this brand. I think I still want to at least keep this palette because I feel like it has a lot of shades that I actually use. I don't want to, again, I don't want to regret because this palette is hella expensive. I don't want to have to make a decision to, you know, do I repurchase it or not. But this one I'm thinking. This one is pretty new, so I'm pretty sure I can get someone else to use it. The shades are beautiful, but at the same time, it's not some shades that I can't find in some other palettes. And at the same time, there's a fair amount of shades that I either have in other palettes or I just don't use. So I think as painful as it is, I can get rid of this one. And that's it. That's all my eyeshadow, or, you know, my whole collection, makeup collection decluttered again. Despite me saying that I don't want to force any big declutter, but I still managed to declutter a lot. I decluttered this many palettes. You can see a lot of these single pots, a lot of eyeliners, sticks, some smaller palettes, some lipsticks, and some cheek products, which is actually pretty good considering, again, I'm not trying to declutter just to declutter, if you know what I mean. I think I might have a video of how I rearrange my collection in my new place, because I want to get a new drawer. This old drawer I have had for like maybe 6, 7, 8 years. It's falling apart. It's not like working as well as it once was. So yeah, stay tuned of my, rearranging my collection video in my new place. Thank you again for watching my super long videos, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.